Would you believe that some Sega Saturn games out there now cost more than 3 PlayStation 5s combined? It's absolutely insane when you think about it. Welcome to Polygon Legends. I'm your host, Serge. Today we're going to talk about the 10 most expensive games for Sega Saturn collectors out there. By the way, thanks for helping me hit 900 subscribers. If you're new here and you enjoy retro gaming content, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It helps me get my videos to more retro gamers like you. Thank you so much. Okay, back to our topic. So why do these Sega Saturn games fetch such a high price on the used game market? Well, these are my thoughts, and if you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Okay, so a lot of us who grew up with the Saturn are now starting to feel nostalgic for this classic system. You know, we're getting to that age where, our back is starting to hurt. I don't even want to skateboard anymore, but I've got a little bit of extra money, so what should I do? You know what? I miss playing Sega Saturn. Let me go beef up my collection again. And that's what a lot of us are doing, and I think that's one of the reasons why you'll see these games are costing as much as they do on this list. But who cares? Go get your Sega Saturn games. You know, we're not getting any younger. I know some of you prefer emulation, and yeah, that is a cheaper route, but I'll be honest, there's nothing like holding an original Saturn game in your hand. The Sega Saturn was truly an amazing machine when Sega brought it to market back in 1994. Sega was already riding high on the popularity of the Sega Genesis, known as the Mega Drive in other parts of the world, but the Saturn's lifespan was cut short by massive competition from Sony and Nintendo, and some infighting with Sega of Japan, but we'll get into that in another video. Anyways, this led to limited print runs, making these games highly sought after. By the way, what's the most that you've paid for a Sega Saturn game? Let me know in the comments below. So here are the rules for this list. First of all, since I'm in North America, I'm just going to talk about North American Saturn prices. I'm going to use eBay as my pricing monitor because that's where I buy a lot of used games. That's where most people buy a lot of their used games, and they're pretty comparable to if you go to your local retro game shop. Number two, I'm not going to talk about graded games because those prices are just ridiculous. Also, there's no real way to really gauge. I don't really trust graded games anyways. They're not for me. They might be for you. Some people like them a lot. I personally stay away with them. I think it's kind of a scam. But you could make some good money taking games, getting them graded, and then reselling them. So it's good for people who do that. And the last thing is, these are for complete in-box versions of the game, not single discs, just so you know. Alright, so let's check out these games. First up, we have Lunacy. This quirky 1996 gem was really quite interesting. It came out at a time when pre-rendered backgrounds were something pretty new, and it combined it with real-time 3D elements. You follow a detective through a creepy space colony. It's a fascinating piece of gaming history that deserves more recognition. I mean, it is kind of weird, but it is cool. Any guesses what this game goes for these days? This recently sold for $450. Can you believe that? Not quite PlayStation 5 yet, but let's keep going. The House of the Dead. The Saturn port of House of the Dead gave us another reason to use the virtual gun. And sure, it was rougher than its arcade cousin, but there's nothing like shouting "Reload! Reload!" in your living room. I mean, moms everywhere love this game for that. Okay, now brace yourselves, zombie hunters. This one sold for $589. Okay, up next we have Burning Rangers. This was one of Yuki Naka's passion projects right after creating Sonic, and it shows. It was released in 1998, and it's one of the best games out there for Saturn. This game has you zooming through futuristic buildings as a jetpack-powered space firefighter. I mean, how cool is that? Putting out fires with, not water, laser beam cannons. Burning Rangers is the kind of creative crazy that makes retro gaming so special. They just don't make games like this anymore. So, you want to know how much it costs to join the Space Fire Department? Better sit down for this one. $6.99. Alright, this one's more than PlayStation 5. Let's keep going. Here's another classic, Saturn Bomberman. Let's take a look at the game that really tested friendships. The cool thing about Saturn Bomberman was that it cranked it up to a chaotic 10 players if you used 2 multi-taps. It featured enough explosions and betrayal to make Michael Bay jealous. You want to know how much this friendship destroyer costs? Hold on to your multi-taps. It was $6.99. Jesus. Up next, we have Contra Legacy of War. Ah yes, this game was the black sheep of the Contra family. It was the first one that stumbled into the 3D era. It was released in '97, and this game ditched the series' signature side-scrolling action for let's face it, clunky 3D gameplay, and they even packaged 3D glasses with it. I mean, this definitely was not the Contra game that I wanted when it came out, but it definitely got me and all my friends talking. Ready for the price tag on this beautiful mess? You can get it now for a whopping $750. Unbelievable. Alright, so up next we have Battlesport. Now this bizarre but addictive gem throws players into zero-gravity arenas where you pilot weaponized hover vehicles, trying to score goals while blasting away at opponents. It's kind of like NBA Jam meets Descent, and I think this game perfectly captures that experimental spirit of 90s gaming where developers weren't afraid to get crazy with the genres. Are you ready for the slam dunk price on this one? $899. That's right, $899. Oh. But hey, if you have the money, why not, right? Up next, we have Mega Man 8. I've talked about this game in earlier videos. This is one of my favorite games. This game is absolutely gorgeous. When it first came out, I thought it was the best looking Mega Man ever to come out. And the Saturn version even got exclusive goodies like a super cool animated intro and bonus boss battles that the PlayStation owners could only dream about. Sorry, PlayStation. Talk about robot bragging rights. I'm just kidding, that was a lame joke. Anyways, ready to see what the Blue Bomber commands these days? Alright, take a deep breath. $900. Can you believe that? Oh, that is crazy. You know, I actually saw this game sitting on a shelf at an electronics boutique back in 1998, and it was $49.99 at the time. And I thought, ooh, that game's expensive. I'm not going to buy that. Should have bought every single copy and sat on them. You live and you learn. Here's another game that I've mentioned before in my other Saturn videos. It's a classic. It's one of my favorites. Panzer, Dragoon, Saga. This game was a masterpiece when it first came out. I mean, it featured RPG elements. You got to ride on a magical dragon in a post-apocalyptic world. I mean, what more could a kid want, right? And what more could a nostalgic adult want? Unfortunately for this game, it had a tiny Western release. And because of that, well, this game is really hard to come by. And so now you've got people paying $900 for this game. Can you believe it? Crazy. But yep, 900 bucks. Now here's a game that I actually picked up when it first came out, and I love this game. Magic Knight Rayearth. This is a game that I picked up when it first came out. I absolutely loved it. I love all working design stuff, as I mentioned before. It was actually the very last official Saturn game in the US when it came out, back in 1998. Now, I really liked this game because it combined two things that I loved: anime and Zelda. Now, it's not a Zelda game, but it kind of plays like a Zelda game, almost like A Link to the Past. And you had giant mechs and magical swords, and working designs, like always, gave it the royal treatment with a translation that I thought was pretty good. And I feel like the Saturn couldn't have asked for a better farewell. So this game launched at $50 brand new. This one now sells for around $999. Should have held on to my copy. Last but not least, everyone, get ready for this. We have Daytona USA Championship Circuit Netlink Edition. So this supercharged version of Daytona USA added new tracks and new cars, and it was pretty much the Championship Circuit Edition, but it came with Sega's Netlink modem support. So that's why this version is so special. But they did not sell it in stores. You had to call up Sega to request a copy. And because of this, well, there aren't that many copies out there. So are you ready for the grand finale price of the most expensive Sega Saturn game out there? $8,995. That's right, $8,999.95. Completely mind-blowing. Somebody paid for that before, and now look, somebody else is about to pay for it again. Crazy. They're actually asking, what, 10 grand? We'll see if they get it, but you know, I guess there are collectors in every single financial category out there, right? You know, it's crazy. Just thinking about how all of these games used to cost $40, $50, $60 back in the day. And they're now, some of them are worth more than some used cars. Definitely more than a PlayStation 5. But it's not just about the money, folks. Each one of these games tells a story about Sega Saturn's legacy. From working design's last hurrah with Magic Knight Rayearth, all the way to that ultra-rare Daytona USA version with Netlink capabilities that basically no one knew existed. Whether you're a serious collector ready to score some of these high-priced holy grails, or someone who just loves reminiscing about the Saturn days like I do. I hope this video helped give you a peek into how wild the Saturn collecting world has become. Oh, and let me know in the comments, which of these rare retro games would you be willing to add to your collection, if money wasn't an object? Oh, and next week, we'll be looking at Saturn games that got really nice remakes on Xbox. And as always, thanks for watching Polygon Legends. I'm glad you're here. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet for more retro gaming content from yours truly. That's it for now, my friends. I'm Serge. Keep it retro. Catch you on the next one.